Welcome back to another OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners YouTube Live, powered by Riverwind Casino. We were answering Super Chat questions and just talking about the three offensive commits. Parker and I both agreed upon quarterback Jamison Roberts. What did we say? Quarterback Jamison Roberts. You got Gus Corsair, and who was the other one?
Case Alexander.
There you go. He's a linebacker, right?
He is.
So you said the next three commits. Is that what you said? Why did I think it was offense the whole time?
It was next three commits after this weekend.
This weekend. Okay, so yeah. I guess I didn't hear the after this weekend part. That may have been when the audio got choppy. Yeah. That's probably a good bet. You know what? I'm actually going to change mine then. I'm going to say Gabriel Osborne will be one of them. I'm going to agree with you with Case Alexander. And then I'm going to say Juju Johnson comes up and surprises people and commits at some point. Which I think would, if they can pull that off, my goodness. I still think that this, you know what? Nope. You know who we forgot's about to announce?
Who's that?
Zane Rowe. I'll take Zane Rowe instead of Juju Johnson. So mine will be Gabriel Osborne. I'll say Gabriel Osborne, Case Alexander, and Zane Rowe. So forget everything I said earlier, if you heard it. If you heard it. So Parker, there's been a lot going on since we last did a podcast. It's so weird. Like we did a podcast and there was like 5 names or 7 commits in like a 24-hour period. It went like dead, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, all of a sudden it's like things are firing off again for OU in the portal. And I'm gonna say this, like I wholeheartedly believe this. If they can keep their middle roster strong, because I think that's what makes Oklahoma so good. And I've had multiple people around Norman say the same thing. That's such a big focal point for Oklahoma, is to make sure their starters and their backups are playable. And in the portal era, that is very hard to do because nobody wants to sit. They want to make their money. They're not going to make money if they sit.
Yeah, to be clear, when you say people around Norman, you do mean people whose opinions matter, not the subway cashier, right?
Not. I'm not walking over to the local homeland and asking their opinion. So, or wherever 747, or we're standing outside asking the local.
Yeah, what do you think about the middle third of Oklahoma's roster? Really feels like that's what makes the whole thing turn, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
But no, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that, and that's why an addition like Lloyd Avant, for instance, probably isn't going to be met with the same level of raucous applause amongst the fans as the addition of a guy like Parker Livingston, who projects as a plug-and-play starter at wide receiver. But guys like Lloyd Avant are guys that you have to have. Brandon, you have got to have Jags. I know that term gets used pejoratively. I think I mentioned this on the last podcast as well. Like, you have got to have Jags. Too. You've got to have Jags. And what you're always going to have, realistically, is you're always going to have probably 20 guys on the bottom of the roster that just don't do anything. But you would categorize, for instance, a guy like Marcus Strong this past year as a Jag. But he brought value to the table because he's somebody that you knew when you called his number, when he got the cue to go in the game, he was going to hold his own, he was going to make plays. He wasn't going to be a fish out of water. And you need those guys. You need guys that are going to be able to play 10, 15 snaps a game and help hold the line for your football program. And so in guys like Lloyd Avant, and I'm trying to think who else fits that bill so far. Honestly, I mean, how often are you going to have 2 tight ends on the field? A guy like Rocky Beers or Hayden Hansen, depending on which way the starting battle falls there, I would think Hansen has the leg up. But You're going to see multiple tight ends on the field at Oklahoma, playing
Hmm.
snaps here, snaps there. And both of those guys, I think, with the addition of Hansen and Beers, I think Oklahoma's tight end room is better than it has been in quite a while. But Lloyd Avant adds value to the table. Caleb Nitta adds value. It's not as ballyhooed as the pickup of a Parker Livingston or a Trell Harris. I think we saw with those two, Brandon, that the Sooners are serious about
Yes.
spending money for elite talent at important positions. Because Trell Harris and Parker Livingston are two of the top 15 wide receivers in the transfer portal. Oklahoma's not done at that position, but those are two premium pickups at a position where there are precious few special dudes. There, you can find a lot of good receivers in the portal. You can't find many great receivers in the portal. And the ones that you do find in the portal, the great receivers that you do find in the portal, they cost money. Oklahoma didn't get Trell Harris and Parker Livingston for a 20 and a bag of Brahms burgers. They had to spend.
Yeah. It did not come. I'm not taking a shot, kind of. I am. You could be Texas right now. You talk about just you know that gif where the Chinese dude's sitting there and they're like lining up and they're just kicking him in the nuts one by one and they're lining up and he's like hoi hoi hoi. He's just taking it the whole time, one by one. Kind of feels like Texas in the portal right now. They said, you know what? We don't need Livingston. We don't need him. Nah, Parker Livingston doesn't need to stick around here. We're gonna go get Cam Coleman. We don't need anybody. We don't need Trey Wisner. We don't need all of CJ Baxter. Kick rocks, dudes. Go play for another Power Four program. We're gonna go get Jaden Ball from Florida. Or
It is it is kind of hilarious, isn't it? How many of the guys that were linked to Texas even before they got in the portal or immediately upon entering the portal have chosen to go back to their previous school. It has happened now with Jaden Baugh, with Isaac Brown, and with Andrew Spragg.
and
Like
Jaden Woods too.
Texas is taking a beating, and they may be fine. They may be fine in the end,
Yeah,
but make no mistake, what hasn't happened for them in the first 5 days of Portal Madness has cost them money.
yeah.
Because week 2 of this portal window, that's where you're going to have to drop desperation bags. That's where the price of the brick goes up.
Yep.
That's where you have to spend more to address needs because you're running out of options and you're running out of time.
There are what it ends on January 14th, right? Is the last day you can get in the
16th.
portal, right? 16th. So from my understanding, this is how I understood it. Because for some odd reason, I thought, well, they can't visit, they can't do anything when the portal closes. No, you just can't get in the portal. They can be recruited post portal. So this portal window is going to last all the way through January. That's generally when all the colleges go back to school. So, and then they have like that window of like 2 weeks when school starts where they can move in, they can get people coming in late and all that. So you might even have this portal window go all the way through the first week of February or so, as far as people coming and going, as not leaving, but additions to your roster. But for the most part, like Parker said, like this could get, you think it's chaotic right now? It closes in 9 days. Sunday's the 11th. I bet you from that point on, you talk about our life being miserable. Parker, it's been miserable, like in a fun way, right?
Mhm.
Just stressful. It's going to get crazy, crazy unless Oklahoma is completely done. And at the rate they're going, what they could have 12 by the end of the weekend, maybe 13 potentially.
It's
They've
9
lost
right now.
20.
That's the number, right? 9?
Yeah, it's 9. So they could have 3 or 4 more by the end of the weekend.
They very well
Um,
could. They very
yeah,
well could.
we expect two.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, you do have to account for the desperation bag factor at this point
Yes, you
because
do.
evidently we've already reached that phase. I thought it was going to be another couple days before we reach that phase, but for instance, Missouri getting Luke Work earlier today
Yeah.
when he was supposed to visit Oklahoma, and things momentarily were looking quite good there. Boom, all of a sudden he's a Missouri Tiger. I mean, the dam really broke in that sense yesterday with Alex Van Sumeren in USC. But you're going to start to see more of that. Hopefully, if you're an Oklahoma fan, it's a world where the Sooners aren't the victim of it with regularity over the final 10 days of portal activity. But there will be teams, going back to the conversation that we were having regarding Texas, there will be teams that write huge checks to cover their bases because they really have no alternative. They run out of options, they run out of time, they have to write a big check to get a guy at a position where they need a guy.
Yeah. This and I think Oklahoma's going to have to do that defensive tackle at this point. And I tweeted that the other day. I was like, "This is it's not a position you can sit there and try to negotiate the lowest cost. You can try. You're just not going to win that battle at defensive tackle because that's such a premium position, particularly in the SEC. And Van Sumeren, they lost out. USC dropped just a stupid amount of money on that one. And if you heard the amount that I've heard, I don't blame Oklahoma going. You're not even gonna. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say a source. I'll just say it. I'll say a source around Norman said, "You can't look at Jaden Jackson and David Stone and say, yeah, I'm gonna pay that dude that much." And this is there's no way in hell that that's happening. I'm paraphrasing. No way in hell that's taking place. The guy's not gonna whoever comes in at defensive tackle, they're gonna play a lot. They rotate, and that's what this source said. He goes, look, Oklahoma rotates a ton. You're gonna get 25, 30 snaps if you're part of that second unit for Oklahoma at defensive tackle. You're gonna get a lot of snaps, a lot of reps, be able to accrue a lot of stats, and look really good on film. The side note to that, go ahead.
By the way, whoever is in the chat saying Parker and Drum didn't mention Taven Epps with the next 3 commits, listen up. The prompt was the next 3 commits after this weekend. Taven Epps is committing this weekend, as is Devin Robertson. We expect as of now, both of those guys are going to commit to Oklahoma. After that, though, the guys that we like are Zane Rowe, Jamison Roberts, Gus Corsair, Case Alexander. There's a handful, and those were the guys we discussed. But that's why Taven Epps' name was omitted. Super chat time. Ha Bazinga tossed us $5 and said, "Sup guys, are there any players on roster with one of the 4 playoff teams currently that Oklahoma could be looking to grab?" Yes. However,
we will be sure to tell you while they're playing their game.
Yeah, if you're expecting us to say names, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That won't be happening. But yes, there's a lot right now that hangs in the balance nationally with the resolution of those playoff matchups, especially tomorrow. Because for instance, if Indiana beats Oregon, Oregon's season is over. I would think pretty quickly you see Dante Moore declare for the NFL draft, and the Ducks will be the landing spot for Dylan Raiola or Sam Levitt or one of those big-time portal quarterbacks, right?
Yep.
Similarly, if Miami's season ends in the next 48 hours, if Miami falls at the hands of Ole Miss and they're not playing in the national championship game, and all of a sudden it's portal time for everybody on their roster that's eyeing a new destination, we'll probably see the Hurricanes lock in their big-time portal arm, whoever that may be, pretty quickly. Those are the 2 big dominoes that have to fall, but there are several other smaller dominoes that may fall with either of those 2 teams in addition to Indiana and Ole Miss as a result of their seasons hypothetically, possibly ending here in the semifinals.
So I guess my biggest question is what are they going to do for the 2 teams that the players are trying to get in the portal from the national championship? Like, are they just not going to let them play in the national championship?
I think it's the case, isn't it, that you have a 5-day window to enter the portal after your season ends. That's
Yeah.
how it was last year. I don't
Yeah.
know if
I
that's
don't remember if
changed, but there was a
yeah, I don't
5-day
know.
window last year.
Yeah. That's true. That's the way it was last year. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. Just because I heard Saban word it really weird. Like, these playoffs teams are trying, the players, like, because you've had, like, Alabama, the week they were playing Indiana, they lost like 3 or 4 guys to the portal the week of. Like, I guess maybe you can announce and then play in the game if that's the way you wanted to go. Like, you're playing for a national title for the school. You obviously love the school because you stuck it out throughout the whole playoffs to win the national title. I don't think anybody's going to hold it against you if you went going to the portal, but I'm also going to play this weekend to make sure we win a national championship or help out, however that works. Um, and I don't think I I really doubt in a game of that magnitude that a coach is going to go, "Did you say you're going to the portal? You're a leading receiver. You're not playing in the game." There's no way in hell they're going to throw away, and that's just hypothetical, right? But the point is, it's really weird. They've got to fix the calendar. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
they have to do is they got to fix the calendar. It's just
It-
it's too off, is what it is.
There's a lot that has to be fixed, as we know, across the sport. But
Yeah,
there's a lot that just can't be fixed. For instance, what's happening at Washington right now surrounding their quarterback, Damon Williams.
that is such a weird deal.
I feel for Washington, but I also don't understand why they're making such a big deal out of the whole hoopla, because Damon Williams isn't coming back. Damon Williams isn't going to be playing football at Washington in 2026. What's going to happen, in all likelihood, is that he's just going to unenroll from Washington, enroll at LSU or whatever his next destination is, and not even utilize the transfer portal, much like Xavier Lucas, the Wisconsin safety who transferred to Miami, did last year, because there's no way to prevent that. There's absolutely no way. Legally, you can, there is no means by which Washington can keep Damon Williams around, nor do you really want to. Do you want your starting quarterback in 2026 to be a guy that doesn't want to be around? There are so many reasons why that's just completely impractical. But again, that's where we are in this sport, is that's an issue that's going to continue to crop up until what probably happens is we get government regulation, because that's really the only way that's going to change at this point. The Green Arrow with a $5 super chat. Stupid question. Any chance one of the guys in the portal comes back? Oops. Looks like we lost Brandon. Brandon is gone. I have been cut in half, apparently. Well, this is quite the predicament. Hopefully we get this resolved briefly. Where did Drum go? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But,
I'm
folks,
back. I'm
it's
back. I
just
have
you
no
and me
idea.
for
It
now.
like just kicked me out, man. I just like boop, I was gone. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted. I'm back.
No, I was done. I had concluded my point, and I looked down, and you were gone.
It's like I was like, it just like kicked me out. I was like, what just happened? Anyways, what did you say? What was your conclusion to that whole ordeal?
Oh, brother. Now our spots have been switched on the stream. I am you and you are me.
Do you know?
What?
Oh well, this is you're good. You're good. You're good. So this has just been chaotic. I'm sorry. Um,
Somebody said the good old hotel Wi-Fi.
yeah, oh yeah, good old hotel. Yeah, dude, it sucks. I'm telling you right now. So, anyways, it says your name. It says I guess we're backwards or something.
We're fine now. We're fine. Everything
Okay.
is fine.
Somebody said I had to put in another quarter. Yeah, those were the days that you had to like put money in to keep the Wi-Fi going. I forgot all about that. So anyways, the idea of Oklahoma and defensive tackle. Let's go there. As much
Okay.
first off, before we do that, let's talk about the tight end coaching search. Excuse me. I I think it's pretty clear. We've talked about this on OU Insider. We've talked about it, and I just tweeted out. I tweeted out stuff out like to put the name out there. It's pretty obvious right now who the name is. Everybody's talking about it publicly. I love the hire if it happens, and people are going to want to know their name. It's Brian Ellis. And it's trending pretty heavily.
And by the way,
it's
folks,
been trending.
by the way, if you're on OU Insider, you would have known within hours of Joe John Finley's dismissal becoming official on January 1st that Brian Ellis, Brian Harris is the OU defensive tackle signing. Brian Ellis, you would have known on January 1st, right off the bat, that Brian Ellis was the lead candidate for this job.
Yep.
And it has been the case ever since.
I'm not saying anything, but I just always thought it was weird. The Brian LePack stuff, it made sense. It made sense. But I kid you not, like the second the tight end coaching job opened, I'm just going to say it now. Like I got a text from a source that basically said straight up, the tight end coach for Oklahoma is coaching in the playoffs this weekend. Like straight up, just boom. And so I did some digging after that. And lo and behold, that was the name that came up. And it made sense. When you look at the background, it makes sense. He coached with Ben Arbuckle in 2021 at Western Kentucky. So they both, when they were OCs, they ran the same system. So if you're going to bring somebody in to be your tight end coach, you want to bring somebody in that could be your co-OC along with, or your passing game coordinator, whatever title moniker you want to give him the money that he needs to get there. And make it as fluid as possible, the transition. Well, the best case is finding that dude that knows the system, knows your verbiage, everything. And that's Brian Ellis. Mm-hmm. Like that will be so seamless. And by the way, he's coached not only in the SEC, but he's coached in the Southeast outside of 2 years, his whole career. The other has been the West Coast. What are the two areas that Oklahoma recruits, Parker? California.
They recruit the West Coast.
Southeast. Yes.
And they recruit the Southeast. Works out nicely.
Works out nice.
Super Jets. Back to him.
Gotcha.
The Green Arrow said, stupid question. Any chance one of the guys in the portal comes back? You mentioned the possibility that Jaden Hardy returns.
Yeah.
You think there's a possibility anybody else returns?
Potentially Sammy Omosigho, but it'll take a lot. I mean, Marcus Strong hasn't committed anybody yet, has he?
He has not.
I mean, at some point, you gotta maybe Oklahoma needs to just go, touch base with him and be like, hey, you remember how we only offered you this much? Just kidding. Psych. How about you come back and we'll give you this much? I don't know. I mean, he's worth it. I talked to somebody today that said, of the portal guys, like he would make the most sense to have him come back if you could. Like as far as defensive tackle goes, not portal overall. The portal overall makes most sense is obviously Jaden Hardy in the strong and very big. Sammy Omosigho, on the other hand, I don't know, can you convince him to come back for his senior year unless you were going to redshirt him? Because you feel, or at least OU feels, really, really good about James Nesta. Not to mention you just got Cole Sullivan, who is one of the better Big Ten linebackers. Oh, and on top of that, if I'm a betting man, Kip Lewis is returning. Wink, wink. And
if you're a betting man, is Owen Heineke returning?
So I asked about that earlier, literally 2 hours ago. And he's still hanging out in the facilities. So he's moving about like he's coming back. If in a perfect world he gets his way, he gets to come back. And I said, well, how much do you think it's going to cost NIL? And the source said, of all the people, for what he does, he would be the cheapest. Because you talk about a dude that loves OU and just wants to be he was playing for scraps up until this year. Scraps. He didn't start getting paid till the middle of the season, if I remember correctly. Like, dude loves Oklahoma. He wants to come back. He wants to compete for a national title. The roster they're building, they have a chance to do so next year as things stand. I just don't know that the NCAA is going to be forgiving. Like, you would think they would have to, just because they gave Pavia like 2 extra seasons that he shouldn't have had, right? This dude played lacrosse for 3 games.
Yeah. I mean,
3 games. That's a red shirt, Parker.
if it were football, yes.
Yeah, but that's my point. Yeah.
We've covered this. Like, he ought to get the extra year from the NCAA. He ought to get the extra year. He has a legitimate case, a much more legitimate case than, for instance, Trinidad Chambliss right now, I hope Trinidad Chambliss gets his 6th year based on the NCAA's rules, based on the NCAA's regulations surrounding eligibility. I have no idea. I cannot fathom how, looking at Trinidad Chambliss's situation, he is going to get that 6th year. He doesn't really have a leg to stand on. Owen Heineke certainly does. So, with that said, Cole Birdwell dropped us a $5 super chat and asked, before Jalen Brewster committed, OU was pushing hard. Y'all mentioned OU would push until he signed. Are they still in contact?
No, from what I'm told, no.
Feels like Oklahoma has kind of moved on there.
Contact, I guess, is a relative term. Are they saying hello to each other just in keeping cordial? I probably, just in case. But OU is probably not going to pay 7 figures for. Well, that's wrong. They're not going to pay as high a 7 figures number as Texas Tech's willing to do, and thus that's why you see Oklahoma going after, the Elijah Harmons of the world. And Elijah Harmon's worth it, and Devin Roberson is worth it. Devin Roberson's going to end up being a top 100 dude when it's all said and done. So, I guess we'll see. Elijah Harmon's just really, really good. Strong just went to Clemson, by the way.
How about this? I'm tweeting this as we speak, but did you have Dabo Swinney takes a Brent Venables transfer before Brent Venables takes a Dabo Swinney transfer on your bingo card?
It makes sense. I bet you Oklahoma facilitated that, by the way. But no, I did not have that on the bingo card at all. But you would think they would facilitate. It's like, think about this. Like, if you were think about Gentry Williams. Think about who coaches at where the teams that are after him right now: Georgia, Tennessee, and Notre Dame. Right, and that's what fans need to start doing. Think about the position coach when a guy gets in the portal. Think about the position coach that the player just left, and where that position coach coached previously, who they coached with. Now, sometimes the spider web can be a lot, but a lot of times they make really good sense, right? Like Georgia, Tennessee with Gentry Williams. Okay. Who did Jay Valai coach with? Kirby Smart, right? And the new DB coach at Tennessee also coached alongside Jay Valai. Coach Ash at Notre Dame. There's a lot of connections, right? Those are the names that I've always heard with Gentry. Well, it makes sense. I had to do some digging today to figure that out, by the way. So I'm not saying that every fan should know that. I just figured that out. So just like whatever, but yeah, it makes sense. Todd Bates knows that whole staff at Clemson, right? For the most part. So does Brent Venables, Chavis. Like, so that tracks. You're going to facilitate something like that to make sure the kid lands somewhere. Do we have any other super chats?
We do not. We are caught up on super chats for the time being.
Gotcha.
What do you think is next for Oklahoma in the transfer portal?
Oh, Davion Dozier.
Think so?
It feels that way, right? You don't think so? Maybe an offensive line.
Does that visit happen tomorrow?
Yeah, that's supposedly it's happening.
There's been some doubt cast upon that.
Yeah, over the last few hours, there's been some doubt cast. Correct. Yeah, but I mean, I guess. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you the name I'm thinking of here. I'll go with Danielle Nix. How about that? Offensive line from App State.
Oklahoma's going to need, that feels like a must-win portal battle for the Sooners because the tackle market is already kind of out of control. It's only going to get more out of control over the next few days as options get fewer and further between, and as the time until the official conclusion of the portal window continues to dwindle. Oklahoma needs to just go ahead and lock in Darrell Nix.
Yeah, if they don't get Danielle, it's going to be it's going to get expensive, though. I do think, as far as gets go, I feel like, I'm not trying to cast shade to our business partners or anything like that in On3, but Marion Harris as a 3-star is severely underrated. I do not get that portal ranking at all. You talk about a dude that's got 2 years starting and he was good. Wasn't bad. He was good at Arkansas. Just doesn't track for me, Parker.
I mean, I'll say I think the 3-star ranking is fair. Could he outperform that 3-star ranking? Sure. But based on the resume to this point, I think it's fair.
To be fair, Isaiah Satania, I believe, was a 3-star ranking when Oklahoma got him.
And there you have it.
First team all SEC.
We're going to find out
Yeah.
how much of Amarian Harris's struggles, because he did struggle at times, how much of those were on him and how much of those were on Arkansas. And the circumstances just sucking.
I'm going to go with there's a good chance it has to do with Arkansas, because a lot of dudes leave Arkansas and end up being pretty good when they go someplace else. If you want to look at Oklahoma, like the guys that left in the portal, and you want to see if you want to find out if Oklahoma had talent or not, look at where these dudes are landing.
By the way, I would conclude, Brandon, and this may be a hot take, I would say that OU won the Isaiah Satania Kenai Walker trade.
Well, one is going to be one declared. He declared to the NFL, right? Correct, Kenai Walker?
He did, yes. He is out of eligibility.
Yeah. But he will also be working a 9-to-5 probably in the next few years. So I mean that in the nicest possible way. He graduated from the University of Oklahoma, came back, and graduated from OU, which I thought was strange, Parker, by the way, that he played at Arkansas, but he was walking at OU for his graduation. How does that track? Welcome to the transfer portal world. Like, nothing makes sense anymore. Are you really going to school? I said school. Did college athletes ever really go to school at said school? Are we finding things out that we didn't think we needed to know publicly? It's weird, very weird now. Uh, I, the Are you surprised Oklahoma hasn't tried to go get a quarterback in the portal? I kind of am. Very surprised.
It doesn't shock me. I mean, I think with the scholarship limit going up to 105, they can afford, like, I would take one if I were them. But if they don't take one, I don't think it's a damning decision necessarily.
Who's your backup? Do you see what I mean? You're answering my question right there. Like we
Sorry,
can't
you
even.
dropped out for a second.
I said,
Whatever you
who's your
said, I did not hear.
backup? Like who do you believe
Oh,
that the
I
backup
mean,
is? Like
your backup is Whit Newbauer in all likelihood.
okay, one that confirms everything that we reported on. What was it last year? The reason why Oklahoma, why they didn't take Jaden O'Neal, because they thought Whit Newbauer was good enough that they didn't need to take two quarterbacks in 2026, which tracks, I guess. But you're in the SEC. You have one of the toughest schedules in all college football once again next year. You're going to rely on if John Mateer is running 130 times a season, you're going to rely on Whit Newbauer to be your backup in the SEC with that schedule. Or Jet New, and no offense to Jet New, or a true freshman in Bo Bentley. If I'm an Oklahoma fan, I look at that and I go, what the hell? You went from Michael Hawkins to Whit Newbauer, Jet New, and Bo Bentley. Do you see the discrepancies there? And backup. And maybe because Michael Hawkins has a bunch of like 4 or 5 starts that you feel better about him. And maybe that's just maybe what I'm thinking is perception and not reality. And that's fair. But it's got to be shown, Parker. Do you blame an OU fan for being a little bit, have a little bit of trepidation towards Oklahoma and their quarterback handlings as far as rosters go?
I don't blame them, but I also think, look, you're in the SEC. Quarterbacks cost a lot of money, and odds are, if you go shopping for a backup quarterback, you're not going to find a tremendous upgrade over Whit Newbauer anyway. And man, you know what I
Right.
think back to? I think back to the comment that Tom Moore made about Peyton Manning. Do you remember this? Former Colts offensive coordinator Tom Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is probably the case for a lot of programs across college football because of how much quarterbacks cost. The reality is, so the comment from Tom Moore regarding Peyton Manning was he was asked at some point why the backup quarterback doesn't get more reps. And his response was, I'm sanitizing here. If 18 goes down, we're screwed. And we don't practice screwed. So, with as expensive as it is to roster more than one quarterback who is like legitimately objectively capable of being a starter, it kind of feels like you just kind of have to take your chances on John Mateer being healthy to a certain extent. Because whether it's Whit Neubauer or somebody else that you bring in, it's backing him up, Bo Bentley or Jet New or whoever, it's going to be a step down from John Mateer in the event that he gets hurt.
Yeah. And some of you fans are going, no way, Parker. And maybe a step up when John Mateer gets hurt because they live in the world of they're either Heisman or they suck. But yeah, I think if you get the first 5 games of the year or the Alabama version, sans the pick six version of John Mateer, you probably win a lot of games next year. Particularly the first half version of Alabama, John Mateer. You win a lot of games next year. And I think you're going to get that. I think there's such thing as improving. The offensive line is going to be better. I don't think they're going to have to rely on him as far as running because I think the offensive line is going to be that much better, which is going to make the running backs better. Everybody wants to point to the running backs being bad and DeMarco Murray and all this type of stuff. They were running behind 3 freshmen in the SEC. And I know you can go back to the year before in 2024. They were running behind the second and third string offensive line because everybody else was hurt. In 23, they were good. In 22, they were good. I mean, it feels like forever like the offensive line hasn't been good, Parker, because 24 was so bad that it made it feel like it was a century ago that OU fielded a good offensive line. In reality, it was only 2 years ago. And it's truth. But here we stand going in 2026 with Eddie Perry-Louis, Michael Fasusi, Ryan Foje, Jake Michaela, and Amarian Harris as your starting offensive line. That'll do. 99% of the teams in college football would trade OU's offensive line right now. They would love to have OU's offensive line. So I think that's going to play a big part in Mateer's success. Hey, Jonah Merrick, thank you so much for your super chat. What do y'all think of Kobe McKenzie to Northwestern? Love it, love it, love it. I think it's a perfect fit. You talk about a smart human being. Kobe McKenzie now, that's a smart dude. Genius, actually. And he's going to fit in so well at Northwestern. He's going to fit in so well with the boy Big Ten plays football. The Big 12 spreads things out. The SEC is a little bit more compact. The Big Ten is way more compact. So, I just got sent something that said they fully expect PJ Adebawara to hit the portal soon. It's not like it was from like a fan. So I'll have to look into that. I don't know.
That wouldn't make a ton of
That
sense.
doesn't make sense.
He's going to play a lot next year. He's going to be foundational to that defensive end rotation. Yeah, like he's probably the guy, wouldn't you say? Opposite Taylor Wine. Him or Okoye. And either way, whoever doesn't start is still going to play a ton between those two.
So much. I mean, but he played a ton this year. How many snaps do you think he got a game? What, 25? 20?
It fluctuated with him. It wasn't as consistent as it was with other guys, but he played.
He made really big plays
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had a good year.
That's the type of guy where, I think you started to see it come together for him in 2025, and he was able to stay fully healthy, especially with as much opportunity as is going to be offered to him in 26 at Oklahoma. It could be an explosive type of year for that guy.
That would just be awful if that doesn't make sense. Not to try to worry anybody, but I just was throwing it out there. It's whatever.
Mark, $2 super chat. Hopes of a true quarterback competition gone. Yeah, I mean, at this point, yes, John Mateer's your starter in 2026.
Yeah,
That's
was
what it
never
is.
going to be in
Love
question.
it, hate it, that's reality. He's your starter in 2026.
Like if it, but back to the PJ Adebawara. Where would he go? Missouri? Like, there's zero chance he would go to Missouri, right? Like, they just that doesn't make sense. I get it from like a location standpoint. We're talking hypotheticals, people, just so make that very clear. Like, we don't know anything. I just brought that up because it got text to me. Somebody screenshot it and like text me and like, oh, somebody's saying it. So, um, Kyle Godwin said, stop scaring people. Sorry, I'm not like trying to scare. Um, what defensive tackle, like who do you think Oklahoma should go after in defensive tackle?
At defensive tackle, I mean, it would make sense to loop back around with Cody Sigler, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Alabama offered him recently. I don't know that that's going to be possible. I think Oklahoma
He's
felt
from
like it was.
Alabama, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
So that
from
may
like
be
an
tough.
hour and a half north of there, maybe an hour north. So I don't know, like any from like Huntington, Alabama, or something like that. Something
Norman
like that.
America, 69, $2 super chat.
I don't know, like
Y'all think Hatton Jr. makes some noise next season? Yes.
yes,
Yes. Think that guy plays. Definitely. We'll get to see him this
he's
weekend
one
down
of
at
the
the
ones I
All-American
can't
Bowl in
wait.
San Antonio.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch him. I cannot. Base God 333 said, I just got in here and I was just wondering your take on the new Michigan linebacker. Does he start if Heineke and Lewis are both back? And just wondering where did he rank among the other current available portal linebackers? Hashtag Boomer Sooner. Okay, to answer your first part of your question, he will start. I will be utterly shocked. And if he doesn't start, he's going to play a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe behind James Nesta type. If Heineke returns, it'll be either Nesta or Sullivan as your starting linebackers. I just can't imagine Sullivan coming to Oklahoma without being told he's going to start and or play at least 30 snaps a game, if not more.
Yeah. No,
So
he's an excellent player. He is going to play
yeah,
a lot, regardless of whether he starts or not. I mean, Owen Heineke technically didn't start this year for Oklahoma, at least not start to finish, but he was on the field a ton every single game. So that's what you can expect from Cole Sullivan. It's Kip Lewis and 2, potentially 3 exciting whites alongside him in that linebacker room.
Brent Venables special, my white linebacker crew. Um, yeah, the last part is where do he rank among the current available portal linebackers? He was for Oklahoma, he was number one.
Yeah, they loved him.
They loved him. It was him and Owen Long, and Owen Long quietly had a visit set to OU. They were working to get him in. I think it was today actually, but you know, or tonight into tomorrow. I believe Cole Sullivan kind of shut that down. So Oklahoma's done with portal linebackers, and I guess maybe not now that Omosigo's going in. Maybe you have to go grab another, but I don't know that you can go. I don't know that you can afford to go grab an Owen Long now. And I don't think an Owen Long is going to come and try to compete with the Cole Sullivan, a Kip Lewis, and a James Nesta. I just can't see that. So that was the same reason why Gideon Lampron ended up not visiting. They even moved his visit up
Yeah.
to earlier this week. And then when Cole Sullivan started being talked about. OU was very honest with getting Lampron and his agent, and it worked out. Kid's going to Colorado. He's going to be a superstar in the Big 12. So, yep. All right. I think that's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Advisor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. If you are not subscribed to this YouTube channel, subscribe. If you are not, or any podcasting platform, please give us 5 stars, like, thumbs up, hype this YouTube channel up. Please, thank you. It helps us with the algorithm, everything. The more you like, the more you subscribe to everything that we do, the more it helps us with sponsors and to keep this free for you guys to bring information, be able to talk to you guys on a weekly basis, whether it's podcasts or lives that we bring, or even the specials that we bring to you guys on this channel, which is quite a bit during the season and during spring and all that type of stuff. So all of that helps. The more you subscribe, the more you help, the more you like, the more you help, the more you get 5 stars, the more you get 5 stars, the more you hype the thing up, the more you help. If you are not subscribed to OUinsider.com, we are one of the fastest growing On3 sites right now. It is actually really awesome. Put on a list today, bam, and we are right up there. Thank you guys so much, OU fans. You guys have been amazing this month as far as growth goes, and the 50% off still ongoing right now. You can get OU Insider plus Rivals plus every On3 site, access to it all right now for half off. Literally $59.99 will get you a whole year of OU Insider, On3, Rivals, all of it. You can click on Michigan, you can click on Texas, Texas A&M, Florida, Alabama, Missouri, whatever, and go see what they're talking about over on their board. Go get their information. If there's a recruit that they're crossing up with, you can get their feeling on what they're hearing on their side of things, not just ours. And that's the cool part about it. So make sure you go over to OUinsider.com in your URL. You just type that in, OUinsider.com URL. You click that green Join Now button, and it'll send you over to the 50% off right now. And I'll even put the link down there in the comments when we have this posted up later on, and I'll pin it up to the top. That way you guys can get all that. So, all right. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Advisor YouTube Live. For Parker Thune on the side of I-35, for Spencer Forsythe on the board, I'm Brandon Drum here in San Antonio, and you guys have a blessed day.